Here comes the Nastygram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram podcast for a very special episode.
Special.
This is Josh, and I am joined by the whole crew. We have, smoke your vape.
Yeah.
Representing Gen Z, we have
Fucking Zoomers.
So, dude, this is Devin. Yo, the table's a little OD right now. Am I right?
bring us back.
Words? What? Hey,
Word.
it's Ryan. Hi.
Ryan coming in from the...
I'm in the snack shack.
Snack
Snack shack.
What's good, fam? Matt here. I am in a chair at the table.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
All right. Slay Queen. This is Jake. And I had some Madeira tonight.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't live in Portugal, is a wine.
Hey, guys, it's John. And I don't know if... Am I the only millennial here? Are you guys all Gen X?
We're all millennials.
You're millennials?
Technically, we're
Geriatric
I'm an elder
millennials.
millennial.
geriatric.
Geriatric
Yeah.
millennials is
Yeah.
the proper
Okay,
term for
okay.
us. Yeah.
I like the term
Except I
feel that.
Xenial.
Xenial. Xenial. Yeah.
Xenial. It's a Gen X
Slash.
to millennial crossover defined by did you play Oregon Trail in...
On Apple IIe?
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
I think... So, wait. I think, Ryan, are you older than me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
You're 42?
Jake.
He's
I
a
am,
year
yeah.
older.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're Gen X, right?
Ryan's the oldest, but because I think millennial starts at 82.
82. Okay.
I think so. I think I'm the oldest millennial possible.
The Methuselah.
Did you say you're here?
No, I haven't. But people know.
Can you?
Yeah, no. Do
Say
I have
hey,
to?
folks.
Hey, folks. Dan here. Playing
Just-
Dan.
And if you didn't notice, this podcast is going to be a little chaotic tonight.
It's going to be a little chaotic because we got the whole band in town, and we're here just to kind of talk about a little 2023 year in review, year look ahead, the usual like kind of stroke yourself job that we do in the podcasting world,
And physical.
and physically stroking
That's
each other.
And virtually.
Podcasts are all about.
So we had a couple things we want to do tonight. I wanted to lead off with a few kind of, I just kind of looked around at some things and talk about 2023 for Nastygram. So I wanted to highlight some things that we did in 2023.
Before we get into all that, Josh, can I just add one little thing outside of your little schedule? I just want to say
Thanks for being patronizing.
thank you. I just want to say this is the thing I look forward to doing the most every week. And thank you guys for being a part of it. And
Yeah.
thank you, people who actually out there listen to it. It's awesome that people actually listen. And yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, and also thank you to those of you who are editing episodes, which is not me, mostly Josh.
Meat cleaver.
Yeah.
It is a lot of behind the scenes work. Those of you who listen to other podcasts, you might have noticed that ours are better.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is not just our amazing talent, but the editing that goes into it. So thank you for all the hours of work you put in.
Mostly column A being
Yeah.
the product of the table. But good production helps, which is largely accomplished by equipment. But editing is great. And I'm very happy to say one of the things that happened in 2023 is that Matt has edited the first episodes of Nastygram other than me that have been released.
Boom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bango.
Useful.
Good job, Matt.
Devin and Dan have already dipped their toes in the table and then pulled them back because that water was very cold.
It was very cold.
Is it harder to do than you thought it would be?
I bought all the accoutrement to do it and then have
what does
done
that mean? A mouse and keyboard?
100%.
You didn't own
you
that?
didn't own- yeah,
And
it's
my,
like
my headphones,
incense.
like I needed like lotion, all of that stuff. And then,
Right,
I just
music.
walked it back. So
See, I find a nice strong joint and a good beer
you go.
really
There you
get
go.
like a good 6-hour editing session to just
I think
fly by.
Bingo.
I mean, it goes without saying Dan needs more endless projects to be a part of in his life, right?
Those are nice thoughts, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And they are very true. And there's something you guys might hear down the road or a read from Liv. She asked us some questions, and some of that stuff might be forthcoming. But one of the questions she asked, as a spoiler to each of us individually, was what do you enjoy most about having been part of the podcast? And I think my number one answer was just to like have this be the thing that we do, and then get to go back and listen to it beyond like, you know, any kind of production value, any kind of having it, to like get at this table and do the thing that we like to do anyway, and then be able to listen back to it forever, regardless of, you know, how well the podcast does, how many people listen to it. Like, we're making this as much for ourselves. The dozens.
I think my answer is the exact same thing of just having a reason to come and hang out every week, and having a plausible deniability. No, having a plausible, like a reason to come here and make it schedulable, and you know, avoid some of that aggro that we get in our in our lives.
Careful.
You
Some
are-
people listen to the
Shit,
podcast.
yeah, you are-
She listens to
You
this.
are walking.
I love you, my wife.
Skating.
My wife doesn't listen to the
Yeah.
podcast, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
So some things accomplished in 2023. Released 3 complete arcs: the Ithaca Project, the Boston Masquerade, and the Monster of the Week. Plus a few bonus eps, a round table, a Halloween 2-part special, a movie review. A total of 60 episodes released in 2023.
Hot dog.
We recorded 101 episodes using 12 different systems.
Jeez,
That's gross.
that's crazy.
Yep. We obviously, you guys probably have figured out we record in advance, and we usually record a couple episodes per sit down, but we're making more content than we can put out. And that is part of the excitement of other people editing, is that we can eventually start to maybe get more content out. We did our first Gen Con trip
Hell yeah.
collectively,
COVID.
most of
Yeah.
us.
We all got COVID. Collectively, most of us.
I survived it.
Yep.
Thought I was immune. Turns
Yeah.
out that was a joke.
No.
For downloads, we don't usually talk about this because don't usually really pay that much attention or care that much. But we had 18,000 downloads for the year, which is up 40%
Nice.
from the year before.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Welcome to you new folks.
Something very exciting. We brought in the first new permanent crew to the Nastygram regular cast
Permanent. I didn't sign anything.
in Devon. And it goes both ways.
And all of the debt is now shared.
Listen,
Shared 6 ways.
So
Comment on
congratulations.
this.
You owe about $2,000. We birthed the Snack Shack. That is part of Devon coming in. Which
Muzzle top.
will be an exciting possibility of the future. One of the most exciting things is, you know, we've always had some pretty cool listener involvement from the get-go, but we had the first true listener that's become, in a way, a part of the team. We've already mentioned, which is Liv. You guys that listen, and if you have any following or awareness of us on social media, you definitely know Liv. But she is our British poet laureate. And she's putting out I don't know, do you call it a blog these days?
It's WordPress stack WordStack.
Tumblr. What is
Something like
it
that.
called?
Called Musings of a Polyhedron.
You guys are so old.
And it's brilliant and it's awesome. And it's cool to, like, you know, maybe I thought like, oh, like maybe like some of our listeners will get more into playing games because we're doing shit. But like, I never thought like somebody would be inspired creatively with actual fucking creative talents beyond just role playing games because of our silly little podcast. So that was pretty cool. We also started TikTok,
Woohoo.
which is both an accomplishment
and a failure.
and an embarrassment.
You do pretty good. The Gen Con TikToks were pretty good.
We're lacking in the thirst trap department, I think,
Yeah.
on our TikToks.
We're going to do
that.
Josh in a
With
fireman
that,
outfit.
with that mustache,
Yeah.
we must have
Yeah, yeah.
opportunity.
I
there.
mean, that is
Mustache shorts.
just straight Burt Reynolds.
What do you do? Do you
Hold
just
on.
rub different
Ryan,
materials?
peek your head around the corner here. Oh, damn, I'm the only one without a beard right now,
Yeah.
without facial
Wow.
hair at the moment.
What?
Yeah.
What happened? Jake?
Oh my
Come
God.
on.
I shaved all
yeah.
5 out of 7
We got-
beards, 1 clean shaven,
Wow, and then one mustache. Yeah, damn. It was a beardy room.
So yeah, that's kind of what happened in 2023, which I think is pretty cool. But don't have too much of an itinerary. There's a couple questions I wanted to throw out and kind of go around one by one, and otherwise just kind of bullshit. The questions I wanted to ask, we can attack them one by one. What was the highlight of the year for each of you in terms of Nastygram? And what are you looking forward to in 2024 in terms of Nastygram? I don't care about your personal lives. So what do you think? Do you want to go around the table and
I have one.
okay, we can answer one of those.
My favorite thing. So as much as I enjoy all of you guys, my first foray into the studio and playing on mic, we played a Delta Green game. Still playing it, but not as often.
This answer is such a cock tease. You're gonna tell them your favorite thing is a thing they can't listen to?
No.
Wow.
Never know.
I mean, I did the same thing last year, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's never going to, still hasn't come out.
Anyone who's listened to the Ithaca Project, the game that we played, Delta Green, I run a game with Josh, Jake, and a couple of our friends, Adam and Jesse, and we played like a modern day 2023 Delta Green game set in Boston. I was just running like little modules. I would find one-page things. But that game got me back into GMing, which I hadn't done for a while, which was really fun, playing in a modern setting, a new game I hadn't played. And the players that I played with were awesome. And it was sort of a different way of playing the game. I think, before that, I was listening to things like One Shot at a Monster and Into the Storm, Dark Legacy.
Garbage. Bunch of garbage.
No, but it was great in Star Wars, Empire's End. And I was like, I just love the way you guys played the game. And then playing that Delta Green game was really fun, like immersion storytelling, letting me be having a group of people that play the game a way that I've always wanted to play games is great. So whether it was Monster of the Week or, being there for Boston Masquerade, playing NPCs, Mr. Boyle, Brian, all those opportunities to play with you guys. But all started with that Delta Green game that I hope we'll get to hear someday. I'm thinking about doing, I'm going to say it on air so I can't back out of it, doing a little supercut. So having just like some moments, just like cut together, trying to showcase the story and the characters and the drama.
In, bitch!
I know.
So Devin, I'll say like, we kind of, that was like, I didn't really know you before we did that Delta Green game. And that was kind of our introduction to you as a person. And definitely as much as you liked it, like I loved it as well. And I think that Delta Green game is kind of the reason that you're on the podcast now, to be honest. Like we played that game.
Your interview?
Like, Josh and it wasn't like the intention, but like we played that game and Josh and I were like, holy shit, like he gets like our style, like he's a good DM and like you gel well with us. Yeah.
I had fun. I do have fun.
Ryan?
I think my favorite thing this year has just been descending into just weirder and more depraved characters. I think.
Ken Wiley. You just say it. Yeah, your
Really
favorite thing is
Ken
Ken Wiley.
Just going down this. Ken Wiley's been a lot of. I will say that I did this week change my Facebook profile picture to the Ken Wiley photo from Musical Polyhedron.
The sleep paralysis demon.
Because again, the only thing I pretty much use Facebook for is occasionally interacting on the lounge, and the first two people I was like, let's see what happens with this. So I got a like from Eric, which I was like, maybe he listens, and then my 5th grade teacher, which was really strange.
Wow.
And then later in the night, my wife texted me with, WTF is this? And a clip of it. And I was like, oh, well, I explained it. And she's like, oh, that's cool. So wait, somebody like made fan art of one of your characters? And that's what your character was? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, maybe you want to crop the Speedo out. And I was like, yeah. Fair point. So I did that.
Your wife's like, remember, on social media, you represent me.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Our son's his other parents from his teams might be on here. So maybe it's like, okay. Fair.
You can't sleep over the Trepania's house.
Exactly. Is that what his dad looks like?
Like Josh said, having things that are just there forever. It's great.
Yeah.
Matthew?
Oh, let's see. I mean, I've enjoyed the whole year. I think, as controversial as it is, I enjoy the acceptance that a hot dog is a sandwich, and I like that.
That is not.
There's no science. I talked with an expert today, and there's no
he followed
science.
the traditional.
He gave his opinion, and he also
His expert opinion, his scientifically expert opinion.
he said there's no science. There's no real science behind it. It's just sort of how you feel.
That's conjecture.
Was this a sandwich scientist of some kind?
Yeah, I want to know about the
Technically,
sandwich
yes.
scientist.
And Josh, note.
Was this Jared
put
from
editor's
Subway?
note in here.
Cut everything. Cut all of this.
No, but for real, I think the stories that we got to tell this year were, more fun than they've been in years past. I think the way that we've developed as sort of storytellers and feeling more comfortable playing characters that are a little bit more like either oddball to us or, a parallel to something in our life has been a lot of fun for me. Exploring Tony and reliving a lot of those traumas was maybe not the most fun that I've had, but it was cathartic. So I do thank you all for that.
Oh, me? Me? Jake here. For me, so it's very important for me to have some sort of like creative out. What's the word? I'm
Outlet.
Drunk. That's right. I'm drunk.
That Madeira.
It's important to have some sort of creative outlet in my life, and running games is a lot of times that for me. It's the writing the game and everything, and so this year for me, like my favorite part of the podcast was running the Vampire the Masquerade game. I was just really happy with how that came out and with just the process of doing it every week, and to be honest, it was fun to kind of have to like rewrite my game every week. It was kind of fun to like have to come up with things on the spot and stuff like that. Like that is kind of one of the more fun aspects of it for me, is like the improv and the adjusting the plot and stuff like that. And I had a really good time doing that. So thank you guys for keeping me on my toes, and I'm happy with how it came out. Yeah.
It was really good. Vampire, I think, is one of the best, my favorite arcs.
And the other cool thing about that game for me is that I didn't want to run it. Like, not that I didn't want to run it, but like I didn't come to you guys and say like, I want to run this vampire game. I got a cool idea. Like you guys were like, run a vampire game. And I was like, all right, sure.
Okay.
And so that was cool. Like it was kind of put me on the spot, and that I appreciated that.
I think for me, one of the best things about doing the podcast and having something to come to every week was being able to play as many systems as we did and kind of getting a taste of all these different role-playing games that I've always had on my shelf and wanted to play, and just having those nights where we'd have these one-shots where we can kind of test it out. That was really fun. We did like a MechWarrior game that I love BattleTech and MechWarrior, but never really had anyone to play the role-playing game for a long time. And the new one came out and I wanted to try it, and we ran a one shot. So it was just fun to be able to get those little vignettes into different game systems. And I think it really helps build you as a GM to take some of those concepts and add them and sprinkle them into other games. So yeah, that was fun.
Hey everyone, Dan here.
Hey, folks.
Hey folks. So,
Woof.
I mean, the thing, trademark. The thing is I think we are incredibly lucky. I feel incredibly lucky. I don't think everyone has an opportunity, as Jake said, to have a creative outlet.
Struggling with that.
So, I to kind of put this in perspective, I've known at least a couple of the people here pretty much my entire life, since I was about 6 or 7 years old, and having a camaraderie with a group of people that you can do cool stuff with, you can have fun. Being an adult generally sucks, and the opportunity to still have fun and to still show up once a week and laugh your ass off and make cool shit is incredibly important for sanity, for just getting some enjoyment out of your life where you can get it. And I would say to any of you out there who like what we do and who are listening to it, I encourage you to try to do it yourself. I know stranger danger is real, but there are other people out there who probably share similar tastes, who are, looking to have this same sort of thing that we have. And I would say go forth and make something.
Play a game online with other Nastygram listeners.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what I want. I want the Nastygram listener game.
Yeah.
that I can listen to.
That'd be fucking cool.
I challenge you to provide us with entertainment.
Give us content.
Can I say something? It's serious.
In that case, go ahead.
No.
I don't know if I want your opinion like that.
Bring it.
Oh, never mind. We can go on to the next one.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Devin. Damn.
Cut.
What else did you want to hit on,
Gen
Josh?
Z is so sensitive.
During COVID, it was a weird time, right? And I got to play online with a group of friends, and eventually, as restrictions started being relaxed in our area, I eventually started meeting up, playing at the table again with my friends, and we did that every week. We either played online or met in person, and that was super important for me. Having that creative outlet. It's great, and I think it's important. Find people with similar tastes, do the cool things you want to do. Like Dan says, I got a mic, like a table mic, and I recorded some D&D sessions. It was something that was always, sort of interesting to me, but I never would have done it on my own. So, and then being able to play with Josh and the rest of you guys. I've known Josh for quite some time through work. And so we'd always, chit chat and talk in passing about D&D and, finding out he has a podcast and a bunch of people who like to do the same thing. It's cool. It's fun. So if you want to do it, try, put yourself out there, talk to people. There might be someone out there who has a similar interest.
I like it. For me, I think this is going to kind of sound like I'm jumping around the back of kind of what Jake and Dan said. I guess I'll give two answers. Favorite part of the year for Nastygram as an individual contribution, I would say probably playing in Jake's game with Larry, a character that was intentionally made to be kind of hard to like. And yet I ended up like absolutely loving him. And I think he was probably pretty well received. But just like an interesting like role-playing challenge that was really rewarding to be part of that story. But other than that, it was looking in kind of getting more of a higher view of what this means to me as a creative
Outtake.
output.
Oh my God.
Outcome.
Trolling Jake in real time.
Outside.
But between, I mean, on a personal level, a lot of you guys know, this year has been the busiest year of my life in terms of like commitments and time, like short of maybe like being deployed for part of a year, but like just in terms of like what I have to do and what I have free time to do, and realizing that no matter how busy I get, like this thing is so important to me that I need to make sure it keeps going because of what it means to me to be involved with it, but also as the creative outlet. I don't have any creative abilities. I love music. I've tried forever. I can't play music. I can kind of fucking bang on a guitar poorly. I love art. I can't make art. I can't draw. I can draw fucking stick figures. The only thing I do that is even close to being considered like a creative outlet is like being part of this product. And that's a mutual thing behind the table. And then when it comes to editing, that is the thing that is like personal. Like as much as editing is a fucking bear, to like listen to the end product, knowing that like, hey, editing is just the fucking final brush ups, and like really it's what happens at the table that matters. But our shit sounds fucking good. And going to Gen Con and being exposed to all this shit and listening to more and more podcasts, I feel that our podcast is as good as any role-playing podcast in the world.
Gauntlet thrown.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that like you can say we're never going to be as popular for sure. And there's things that like, you know, a Glass Cannon, they're more entertaining, especially live. They're entertainers. We're not the best voice actors in the world. We don't have the best accents.
He looks at Dan.
That is
Long stare.
ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about.
ridiculous.
Sacre bleu.
But if you allow yourself a subjective lens, the audio quality is as, you know, it's top tier. It doesn't have to be the best of the best. And like, there's not a lot of people that do the game the way we do it. So you can take flavor into it, but like we make as good of a fucking actual play role-playing podcast as is made. I truly believe that. And to be a fucking part of that is awesome. And to know that no matter how busy my life gets, this is something that I'm not going to let go. And to know that this will kind of lead into the next question that hopefully I am going to have, and we will be able to maybe put more into this going forward. So that keys right into it. What kind of the last question until we just kind of fuck around. What are you looking forward to in terms of Nastygram in 2024? This can be a specific game, specific system, concepts. Why don't we reverse?
You just snaked me, dude.
We'll go back. We'll go back to Dan.
Yeah, I think actually one thing that I would like to focus on, last year, I ran a one shot for Monster of the Week, but I am looking forward to running a longer campaign. And I think that would be pretty cool. Been doing this a long time, and generally I have had the luxury of leaning on folks like Josh and Jake and Dean. And I have, having done it with the one shots, having done it with the Tradicium, I do enjoy the process of writing a game and running a game, and I'm looking forward to the future of that, whatever system it might be. I got some ideas for Cyberpunk. I got some ideas for good old fashioned D&D. So I am looking forward to 2024 and getting behind the mic again on the storyteller side.
Can I just say, like, to that, like, to our audience listening, Dan is a really good DM.
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
You do a great job. He puts in a ridiculous amount of like background work. But you know, one thing that I use to kind of judge whether or not I like a thing, and I do this with movies usually or TV shows, is like if I think about a thing after it's over, like if I bother to like think about a movie, like a month after I've seen it, or if I'm just like, oh yeah, that movie, like there's not many things I do that with. And like one of the few games that I always think about is actually one of the ones Dan ran, and it was just really fucking good. And like, you know, it's a shame that it wasn't on a mic.
You think about that dwarven mine?
Yes.
The bad things that happened in that dwarven mine?
Dan ran this amazing D&D game where we were like trapped underground, and we had to escort these people to safety, and we had to fucking eat the people who died. And it was just, it was a fantasy horror game, like at its best. It was amazing.
It was probably one of the last games we ran before we started the podcast.
Yeah, it is a shame but I mean, it's a great memory, and it, like I said, like it's one of those things that like I think about, like, damn, that was good.
That was a fun one. And it was funny because I think the first game we actually tested as well was my Star Wars one shot.
Yeah.
So
That was a great game too.
that was fun.
For next year, I hope to help out with some editing, edit some of my stuff that we've been recording, and maybe get it released or bonus or whatever. But I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077, and it's really gotten my juices going for that kind of game.
Gross.
It's real gross. It's blue. But
The juices are blue.
yeah, the juices are blue. They're
is
cyberpunk.
Fair.
And they're glowing. But yeah, it's that kind of game. I am kind of weirdly looking forward to maybe doing some classic D&D. Some of the people I look up to in terms of game rules from MCDM had a bunch of monster manuals that got released, and we tested some of those in some of our one shots, and they're really compelling and made combats compelling. So, and classic dungeon crawl, dungeon D&D game. I'm kind of looking forward to. So yeah,
Jake here.
Jake checking in.
Checking in. my creative output for the 2024.
Oh man.
So I think the thing I'm looking forward to, because I'm a selfish asshole, is I'm always looking at what's the next game I'm going to run. I love playing in games, but I think, you know, when it comes to the creative outtake,
Dear Lord, man.
running games is really where I kind of thrive and where I really find that creativity. And it's, you know, the thing that I obsess about and think about before I go to bed every night. Like, what am I going to do next week? How am I going to deal with this situation? So I got a couple game concepts in mind, just kind of figuring out a schedule and what games we're running next. But I got a couple games in mind that I'm pretty excited to put out there for you guys. Maybe one of them's a D&D game. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, 2024. It feels like 2023 just started and it's over, so it's really hard to pick a timeline. Also, remembering what happened in 2023, it's hard, so it gets confusing in there. But I think I'm excited about like living in the worlds that you guys get to create, whether it's stuff that you guys haven't heard yet that we're doing that's you know, outside of my comfort zone, or things that I'm, you know, I feel more comfortable playing. I think this last year, I know some of you have been there, but doing the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough with Devin, John, and Mr. Dante has been a lot of fun, and it's kind of gotten me excited about going back to that sort of like high fantasy world is something that like tickles my fancy. I think weirdly enough, I'm also excited about like editing stuff, is wrapping up storylines that we've done so that we can put out stuff for you guys that we think is fun and interesting and tell stories that are, you know, something that maybe you haven't heard before, or something you have heard before that, you know, done in our style that, you know, is really us. I think I'm just excited about whatever we're going to be able to come up with kind of as a group, because I really have enjoyed everything that we've done so far. Like, whether it's something serious like the vampire story and those characters and telling those stories, or whether it's the monster of the week where it's just absolute fucking insanity, and you know, you by the end of it you're questioning like, did that actually make any fucking sense? Is that something that people are going to be interested in? And then you guys post stuff and it's like, holy shit, that actually resonated with you. Like, wow, I did not think that anybody was going to give a shit about that, but that is so cool that you guys love what we do so much that I'm excited to see what we're going to come up with in the future.
Who knew people loved possums so much?
Possums.
Yeah. Possums, or Ken Wiley and his pineapple, or, you know,
Our 30-minute just destruction of that poor woman's
yeah, you know, or, you know, somebody falling off the sobriety wagon and how much, you know,
We're terrible people.
We're awful.
we are, but that's entertaining. I like hearing how terrible people can be because it makes me feel a little bit better about myself, even if I'm part of the terrible people.
It hits different.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be too derivative ourselves, but I'd actually like to see us revisit some worlds we've created and do some sequel arcs next year. I think that'd be a lot of fun, just to kind of not even play the same characters, but just re-enter the same worlds, see how things have changed, grown. Skip ahead, move back. I don't know.
Cool idea.
Yeah, people, seem to like the same shit over and over again. So let's do it.
Works for Hollywood.
Exactly.
Me?
So hold on, Ryan. Any arc in particular that you like? Which one would you want to revisit?
I mean, almost anything. But I would love to do to go back to Innsmouth again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
we talked about that a
we
little
did
bit.
talk about it at the end, and like a kind of
I'm pretty sure there's
20
a
years down
Halloween
the road.
next year.
There will be
Weird how that
there
works.
will
Check
be
the
a
calendar.
Halloween 2024. So
Now you.
Now me.
no, not Devin.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars. I'm excited about Star Wars.
Are we going to play Star Wars?
We playing Star Wars?
When are we going to do that?
Spoiler alert, we're playing Star Wars now.
Probably
right after this.
Probably next week. If you're listening to this, probably next week.
We played a little Star Wars. Empire's End was a favorite for me as a listener. It was great. I always loved like FBI sort of crime drama procedurals and stuff like that. And the timeline of that arc was that exact place where there was nothing that, official canon. I didn't read any of the books. And that was the part that I was most curious about, is what happens after. Those other movies weren't out yet. And it was just this imagination capturing period of time in a galaxy far, far away. So we're going back. We have gone back to the post-galactic Civil War timeline, concurrent with the Empire's End arc, but in a different sector, different part of the galaxy, telling another story in this world that we've already sort of defined. And there's people and places and things moving in a world that makes it feel more real. You always feel like there's other things going on outside. And so our Star Wars game is just sort of taking a look at a small group of people in a large galaxy. And that's what Star Wars was always about for me. I'm excited to see more of it.
Relative to where we are now, where is that galaxy?
Far, far away.
Oh, okay.
Just
And
far?
when
Far away.
when was it? Is it?
Long time ago.
Okay.
So like in the past.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah.
How many parsecs?
That's relative.
How many parsecs?
At least 12.
Okay.
For me, I would say like a big scale and small scale thing. Big scale, kind of what I'm looking forward to for Nastygram in general is, it's kind of just in terms of content creation and output.
Why is that still funny?
Just look at our little year in review here. That we're packed in here. There's 7 of us, every possible fucking mic we can fire up. And then we also have these guests we've brought on. Dante, by the way, follow Dante live _with _Mista, MISTA _ Dante, DANTE. Follow him on Twitch, Instagram, etc.
YouTube.
Anna coming in, Andrew coming in. The fact that we now are expanding this pool of like these cool people that can step in, but also the people that are here. It's like I feel like we are, like, to go back to my sports roots when I was deep into it, like Red Sox 2004 stocked bullpen. Like we have more fucking pitchers than we can even get out in a single game. Like we have so much fucking talent in here and just so many voices that have a great spot to get in. We can't all be in on one game. And that's great because life schedules are crazy and life is crazy. But with the amount that we record and additional people stepping up and editing, the idea of having
The Nastygram Network.
a Nastygram network and an additional, a bonus podcast, a Patreon, doing video, doing something, just growing. And I don't mean just in terms of like additional listener growth, but just making more and putting more out there. And the first year or two, it was largely Jake and I running games. that's kind of the rhythm we settled into, and other people running one shots. But then behind the scenes and recorded, we have all this other content. We have games that Matt has run. Probably Matt has the most recorded episodes besides Jake and I.
Yeah.
None of them released. Yeah.
Some just the one shots. John's run a bunch. Dan's run some one shots and has more planned. Devin's run great games. Ryan is here.
I am. Yeah.
But fucking, you can make fun of Ryan for it because nobody plays more entertaining goddamn PCs than Ryan.
Ryan's
Say,
a
there's
talent. He just shows up.
He's a talent.
Yeah.
There's Oscars for supporting actors
Where's
all the time.
my trailer? So just
I'll be in the cardboard room if you'll excuse me.
that idea of like, man, like this could really go places. Is
Launch
very
our
cool.
OnlyFans account.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And then on like just like personally playing games, I am really looking forward to getting back to Dungeons and Dragons because it's the roots, and I think it's a great system, and I think fantasy is really like that's where we all cut our teeth, and I think we never want to go too long, and it's been pretty long. As excited as I am for Star Wars, I'm also excited to get back to there. And if I run a game, and it won't be soon, there's other games I have in mind, but at some point, Ryan brought up the idea of visiting worlds, and I would love to revisit the world of the Boston Masquerade and Dark Legacy, which is the same world, especially because it's a huge challenge for me. I think I've gotten better as a GM than I was before, but like Jake always ran more games than me, and I always looked up to him as like my idea of somebody that's fucking great at running games, and especially that kind of game. Like Empire's End is like in my wheelhouse. It's procedural. There's a lot of military basis. There's a lot of world building I can flesh out. That kind of gothic horror, Boston Masquerade intrigue. That's a little bit outside my comfort zone. And I would love the challenge of trying to revisit that and make it good and make it hold up. So yeah, that's all I have planned.
We got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, that's all you have planned. I got an idea. How much time we have left?
Any amount.
Where are we?
There's lots of this we can cover.
So here's my thought. All right, so you people out there listening, you might have noticed that there's a couple arcs we've done that are a little unorthodox. There's the Monster of the Week game, which had a revolving cast, revolving dungeon masters, and the D&D game was the same way. Different game master every time, slightly different cast. And as some of you might already realize, the reason that we did those games is because those are kind of our filler games. Those are the games we play when someone can't make it for whatever reason. Like we were going to play Vampire, but Matt can't make it, so someone runs a one-shot Monster of the Week game. So it's good for us to have that sort of lineup. So what's the next one? What's our next filler game?
That's a great question.
Birth it right now on the mic.
Well, we made one and then we cannibalized it because it was going to be Star
Right.
Wars.
That's right.
It was going to be Star Wars, and we
was.
turned it into a main arc.
Yeah.
Do we do it on mic or
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
conceive it.
we can throw out the listeners?
Let's make it a thing right now.
In case anyone's ever curious about how this stuff happens, I think it'd be cool.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about how the Monster of the Week game happened, which was we were all drunk in New Hampshire, and we were talking about a restaurant where they served mythical creatures to rich people, and we decided to turn it into a role-playing game.
So what you're saying is you need more Madeira.
And then the D&D game was kind of like kind of came from an old campaign that we played where we created our own world, and that's why so much of it was a bunch of we threw out a bunch of nonsense words that no one listening understood because it was all a homegrown universe. So that's kind of where that game came from. But what's next? What's a good kind of filler game that different people could run that would be interesting?
It's a good question. I mean, in terms of like what everyone can run, I think like a familiar system like D&D or Monster of the Week or Star Wars, those are kind of our bread and butter.
I'm going to say I also think at this point, any of us could probably run some version of World of Darkness.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, the Monster of the Week style of games are very easy. Although we might be a little burned out. We might want to take a break from
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And D&D is pretty easy. We all know D&D well enough to run one-shots.
What about like a nice simple system like Shadowrunners?
yeah.
I think the cool thing, the good thing about the 2D6 systems is there's literally every single flavor of 2D6 system. So whether we have guests come in or rotating GM chair, those games are just super simple to pick up. You sort of get it. Once you've played one, you've sort of played all of them. And that's just sort of the easier one where, again, we have those situations come up. Oh, I can't make it tonight. Or we have 6 hours. What can we sort of, I have an idea for a game, and then being able to just put it into a system. I think that's, important to have, not necessarily to plan around, but in the cases where we were going to play a game tonight, what do we do?
I will say that also, in terms of running games, usually modern day systems are very easy to.
Blades in the Dark would be a good one because you have just a crew, and it could be a group and cycling group of players in that crew.
Is Blades in the Dark like a Star Wars kind of?
It's 2D. It's Forge in the Dark, so it's a derivative of Powered by the Apocalypse.
Okay.
but
Okay.
A little bit more complicated.
It's like the fate aspects, that thing.
And the gameplay is built around sort of scores, which are these heists that fit nicely into a little like one-off thing.
Yeah, I think the prerequisites is it has to be some sort of crew, gang, family, like whatever, where you can have. I do think we did this better in Monster of the Week than Choose Your Own Adventure,
Yeah.
where we each had one
character.
and one only.
Yes.
And one of them would step in
Yes,
or out, somebody
agreed.
would step in.
The cool thing about Blades is the setting is really interesting because it's like a weird Victorian with weird magic and like gothic horror, but
I think to Dan's point of like the modern thing, like I think the problem with Blades is like we'd all have to sit down and read about the world and like know it if we're going to run games.
yeah,
but like if we played something in like the real world, like a real world setting, whether it be regular real world or real world plus magic or whatever,
Yeah.
then
D20
we
modern.
we all know that, and our listeners know that too. They know what New York City is or whatever, So I think that goes a long way.
What was
Superhero game?
I was
might be
just
good.
looking at the superhero book. I bought that at Gen Con. That could be interesting. What was the game? Maybe Devin or Jake, you brought it to our attention where you would play like a family
Legacy.
legacy.
That was my little idea. I think I don't know if I said it on mic, but like a revisit to the Boston Masquerade universe would be like a legacy game, where I think it was one of Quintus's contacts or someone talking about how vampires have the luxury of just waiting, or maybe it was Leonidas, where
Yeah, Legacy is a game that's meant to be played over generations and over huge expanses of time. Like the default setting is this like apocalyptic world that you're helping to rebuild, but you're rebuilding it as a family over generations. So like, yeah, you don't necessarily play the same character because your character probably dies of old age and then like a new one takes their place. So it's a cool concept. I don't know. It might be a bit much to like
Daunting,
bite off, and also requires a lot more continuity, I think. Like I think you need a game master who has a overarching like world plan.
I think a group of superheroes would be kind of a fun.
That could be cool.
One
And that,
shot.
and that could be a great like sort of jump in, jump out thing.
S5E.
And we've never touched it.
Never.
Never
I've never
touched
played a superhero.
superheroes.
Yeah.
apparently Marvel has a game. Marvel
Mutants and Masterminds? That's the old
No,
one.
there's
That's
a new
Before
evil.
your time.
There's a
That
new
was
one that
30
was
years ago, Dan.
There was one showcased at Gen Con. I think Glass Cannon did it. And they, or it was maybe a San Diego Comic Con
There
or
are
something.
plenty of superhero
Yeah.
role-playing
Yeah, the
games.
one
Just
that
a fun one.
I picked up is the S5E, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I think it's based off of like D20
Right.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Without getting into the muck of the system, because I think that's kind of secondary. I do think a superhero game could be a cool one shot.
The things you want is an easy rotating cast.
Mm-hmm.
No need for a really solid continuing story.
Yeah.
You want like episodic nature.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is you don't want people to have a lot to bite off and understand as far as the world building.
Yeah.
We can
Real
do
world
that.
plus superheroes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Do a quick session 0 where we talk about why they're superheroes.
Superheroes is something.
And then in that session 0, come up with some sort of organization that we're a part of, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
We're ready to
Yeah.
go.
The only
That's
one,
another hot item now. I mean, with The Boys is hugely popular.
Right. I think we
showing.
want to talk about like where we
How
want it
grit-
on the
the grit
scale
factor.
of serious to pulp. You know, like
Serious to Ken
how
Wiley?
many? Like, do we want
Ken Wiley
like,
is serious.
Ken
Do we
Wiley's
want
a
the same
superhero.
amount of dicks that they have in the in what is that?
In The Boys.
The boys,
yeah.
you know.
Herogasm. My greatest
this
regrets.
might be more of a serious arc, but I watched a movie recently, Leave the World Behind. Not great, but very intriguing. Ethan Hawke, Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon. It just came out on Netflix. Really kind of fell flat at the end, but really piqued me initially. And the idea of our regular real world breaking down and then like transitioning to a post-apocalyptic kind of situation. Maybe that's better as a kind of continuing arc, but I could also see that maybe working for this, where it's a situation everyone can wrap their heads around very easily, and then you have a group of people that are together, which maybe
Yeah.
could be thrown together initially, and then
There's
have to get through it.
a game. Same people who made Tales from the Loop and Vason, the Year Zero system, the Free League Publishing or whatever. They're coming out with another one that's based on the same artwork by the guy who did Tales from the Loop. That's going to be a 90s kind of almost apocalyptic, like right before the apocalypse, but kind of cyberpunky, 90s cyberpunky. Everything's breaking down the world. There was a second USA Civil War, that kind of crazy shit.
Y2K was real, that sort of thing.
Right, yeah, kind of like that, yeah. So that might be an interesting one too.
We got some options. I mean, I hate to say it because it's not what I would gravitate towards, but I am intrigued. I think superheroes is definitely the
Yeah.
thing that we haven't
Yeah.
touched on that's very accessible for anyone listening.
Yeah.
And I think that we I think we found with Monster of the Week, like being a little more lighthearted with those one shots.
Yeah.
Makes for an easier.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I think that the reception of Monster of the Week has been pretty awesome. And
And it wouldn't be heard for a while because we're going to have at least a couple regular
It's
arcs.
probably not in 2024.
Yeah, we might record it 2024.
Right.
I like that. Any
Superheroes.
Yeah.
that might be it. Superhero one shot. We got to find a system.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have a system.
We have one closing thing we have to do, but before that, anything else anybody wants to throw out? Observations, questions, shit you want to talk about in our little fucking joint stroke off here?
Another highlight. I forgot about this. Our first listener mail from Andrew. He sent us some snacks. Some fun
yeah.
stuff.
Greatly
That was fucking
appreciated.
awesome. And I brought, because I found these now,
Oh, the ketchup fucking.
ketchup flavored chips.
Nailed it.
Sick.
I got them at my local Portuguese bodegas. And whenever I find them, I buy them. But ketchup flavored chips, there's some like prosciutto flavored chips or something like that in the dark bag. But
If you're an international listener and you want to send us snacks, just email us at
Sounds
nastygrampod@gmail.com. We'll give you a shipping address and
put you on TikTok.
Eat your snacks on air. By the way, Nastygram Pod downloaded in 73 countries.
Wow.
Whoa, there's 73 countries?
Yeah. I mean, not real ones, but.
Oh, okay, good. That makes more sense.
And every state and territory of the U.S. minus never been downloaded in Wyoming.
Awesome.
I know exactly why that is. I'll tell you guys off mic.
Wait, what's in Wyoming?
That is
Nothing.
so
No, you have
ominous.
to do it.
Missile
You can't
silos.
withhold that information from us.
It's classified.
It's not important.
Yeah.
Corn.
Is that Big Sky country? Or is that Montana?
Even Kentucky?
Oh, yeah.
Someone in Kentucky is listening to us?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're not like, wow, these fucking Yankees.
And they might be.
Now they are.
Kentucky doesn't. I think the more surprising would be like the
Alabama.
Iowas or the Idahos. Like,
Well, they haven't seen
Let's
a,
just ostracize all the
I
people that
always
are
think
listening
they haven't
from
seen a
there.
picture of you, though.
oh, fair. Yeah, that's a good point. Do not go to the
man.
website, middle of the country.
I'm surprised you wouldn't say Mississippi, Alabama.
I have
Actually, yeah, that is shit. There's so many states I forget that exist. Sorry, folks.
I have a question, and I mean, everyone can chime in or not. Is there a scene from any particular game that stands out to you the most from the year?
Oh yeah, for me, it's Javi jumping out of the window.
There. A lot of people exited via the
Go
window.
up.
Yeah.
Josh, I expect that when you edit this episode, you're going to put in clips of all the things
Yeah.
we're about to say.
Oh, that'd be great.
You're gonna put in supercut, like you're going to put in a clip from that episode.
All you have to do is request
God
it,
damn
and
it.
then he's.
God damn.
What's the sound of gravel?
You've made this from an easy edit to a fucking project.
What are you guys doing?
Javi jumps.
Oh my god!
Larry's still frenzying. He jumps.
Larry.
Yeah, I mean, for me too, that was a great moment in and out of character because it was such a vindication for Ethan. Just everyone followed him out the window because
That was some real vampire shit.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I think in that whole arc, that was the most vampire-y I ever really felt.
Yeah.
Was like, I follow him out the window and I plummet 30 fucking stories. I lived. Whoa, that was cool.
I have one from the Ithaca Project. Slater and Pearson's car ride out into the middle of nowhere.
That was spectacular.
That was great. Also because Josh, it was a total curveball for Josh, and he rolled with it. And it was just like exciting. At the table, it was tense.
Slater and Pearson, you guys are hauling along. You're picking up some speed. You're closing the distance a little bit. How close do you want to get to this car?
I want to get right up on it.
You want to get right up on it?
I'm not trying to be subtle.
Okay. The radio crackles through the static. It's loud over the engine.
Ulam nest.
Owl at the nest. Buckholz, you're sitting there, and Slater, you get up on this car. You your lights flash as you come up and down over a rise, hit the rear view mirror. You see eyes for a second looking back. Buckholz, you hear some engines as Pearson and Slater, this car ahead of you, steps on the gas a bit and starts to pull away from you. You trying to keep up with them?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get up on the side of them, actually.
Up on the side of
Yeah, if possible.
Okay.
Move, Cotton.
This is going to be an opposed drive roll.
Let's go.
Buckholz.
It's weird. Listening back is so different than being at the table where, sometimes it's you sort of miss things but that car chase is like in the moment, you're just sort of, you're doing the thing. You're just trying to react as you think your character would. And then going back and listening to it, it was crazy. It was fucking OD.
Fuck,
and
this is a clip show now.
Yeah, the serendipity of it too, between like just the timing, which was,
Yes.
I mean, I know that you had plans, but some of it was accidental and it was crazy. It's very cool to be. I think that whole scene, I wasn't part of any of it.
You were in a diner, right?
Yeah, I was sitting in the diner, but it was amazing to sit here at the table and watch it unfold. It was pretty. That was a great scene.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
We're always chasing that. So we're always trying to get that as GMs. You're always trying to evoke that, excitement, that drama. And then when it happens, it's, just out of nowhere, to the chagrin of the GM. It's great. Stuff like that.
I think the casino in Boston Masquerade when we went into the rooms.
Yep.
And Z found the gun in his hand and almost lost it. And then being confronted with that same guy at the end. It was great. Hey, I got 3.
All right. That's what you needed.
Nice.
Dear Lord.
he looks at the gun
You have
and I have the gun at his head.
Put another notch in it right now.
his hand is shaking.
Larry's looking at you.
He breathes out.
Slowly crosses quietly in front of you, reaches out, wraps his hand around the gun, pushes it down, and then starts to pull it away from you.
He lets it go eventually. Z shakes his head.
There was one part in that scene where Jake just cuts to Alexander and Quintus, and it was just like I could see it in my mind like a movie. You have all these things going on inside, dead silent, and the camera just cuts out into the hallway.
They're in the hall, yeah.
And you see the two muscles just look at each other down the hallway and then turn and look back at the doors. Oh my!
So
that
good.
plays like a movie in my head. Josh, do you have one?
I was going to go last, but
Okay. Dan's updating his status.
checking
I'm
in.
looking at the email.
He's looking at his notes.
I mean, I guess if I want to go with stuff I was personally in as like a player, Larry, one of the most unexpected situations was the whole scene of Larry ultimately becoming the
Primogen.
Yeah.
of the Nosferatu, by like trying to interpose himself and point out, kind of reshuffle things, point out Mr. Boyle's shortcomings, but also maybe something he had done well, and cut out the legs from other people that might try to step in opportunistically, and then somehow finding himself in the most unlikely spot of being in charge of anything was probably the most unexpected part of that game.
Yeah.
For me as a character.
He says, I saw they found the girl.
Yes.
I nominate Larry Murphy as Primogen of Clan Nosferatu.
Seconded. Nice boots, Salvador.
He smiles at you. There's a vote, and it is unanimous. And you take Mr. Boyle's place.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what I was trying.
The what's it called? With Salvador, Larry and Salvador, like
Reconciliation.
making reconciliation. That was a pretty powerful moment because that was sort of like a core thing. You came into that game with a rival. Well, on your character sheet, that was just sort of like a rival. And a lot of times that stuff doesn't come into a game. And then, Jake being able to bring it in, and then Larry ultimately having that reconciliation.
And the
with him.
reconciliation with Z and Larry at the end, too.
Yeah.
In the epilogue. That was great.
Yeah.
That or having the chance to play Kingsley Burke again.
So good.
That's probably bigger for us than the audience.
Yeah,
Sure.
But like the throwback of him popping back in was
great.
fun. As he taps on the door frame with his cane and says, "Mother, I'm home."
I had a handful. I mean, there's a couple of things that stand out to me. One is the general cascade that happened across multiple games, which was in the Ithaca project. I had one favorite scene other than that car scene, which was when we were in the professor's house, the very beginning, and Josh described that scene when we're there and the headlights are on and you see something flicker past the headlights. And I don't know why, but that's something that I think about. It's something it's very visceral because I don't know if it's in horror movies or it's just something that you're like
Growing up in Westport.
yeah, like out in the country, you just, when you have that sense of something else out there, it is like it gets your like adrenaline going. And it was a very cool, tiny little moment that stuck with me.
There's only one way to find out.
Matt, Buck, you've kind of been laying back a little bit, and you're actually the only one standing at the entrance to this room. The light falling down the stairs from the headlights of the car that you left on suddenly flicker as if something moved past them.
He's gonna reach toward his belt and at the same time say, "It's something outside. I'm gonna go check it out." And he's gonna start walking back towards up the stairs with his hand on his gun.
Slater immediately.
Also, the gradual evolution into the whole teleportation / time travel thing, and then in the cascading effect of in Jake's game where I got the virus, Diablo-ized someone, and then
The de-evolution.
just wild.
We said we didn't play superheroes, but Dan
Yeah.
only plays superheroes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dan played at least fucking 2 superheroes.
Yeah,
last year.
100%. So that was in the Halloween special. Man, there was some great moments in that too. So, yeah.
Jake Ryan.
Oh, I piggybacked on
Oh, yeah,
Matt's,
except
but
for Ethan.
yeah, I did really enjoy also just anything I did as Dawson Lee Reed to antagonize him. It was just so much fun. Just that little pissant is just
There's a safe, but I don't know the combo.
It's probably 1, 2, 3, 4.
I had a
good
lot of
time.
fun with that Halloween special. I think it kind of invoked that like sort of Stand By Me vibe, like that
Yeah.
whole thing. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was really excited to run that. But I think like overall for the year, for me, the most exciting part was the epilogue of the Boston Masquerade game, because as I said at the time, like I didn't fucking write it, you guys did, and it was just awesome to see how well it all came together, and it was how well everyone's characters sort of like found their conclusion. There's this great moment where like Z and Larry are sort of like they end up kind of doing the same job, but for different sides. And like after clashing, like it's cool to see that weird sort of reconciliation, but also distance. And Javi's whole arc with like, kind of choosing like to be an asshole, like
Be a vampire.
fucking,
Be a vampire.
Like I love this. I was so excited about the scene with Javi where he fucking stakes Leonidas like that.
Yeah.
One day I hope it makes sense for me. And as he says that, Javier takes the stake and drives it into Leonidas's back.
God damn.
His body goes rigid. Yeah, and of course, like Dan blowing up the hospital, like it was. Yeah, I was just so excited about how it ended, about the epilogue, and about how you guys kind of all came to conclusion of like where your characters ended and stuff.
Boil to Boil 2024.
and it because of the way you kind of all wrapped it up, it left this amazing opportunity for when Josh runs his game.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't wait for that.
Hell yeah.
Well, there's just one more thing to do. Do we have any more beers?
I don't
think we have
maybe.
any.
I don't think we have any.
Kevin,
I have beers in the car.
There's a lot of people that work at breweries.
why we brought you into the
Like
podcast.
60%.
I know he said the Delta Green game.
That
But
we have-
refrigerator doesn't keep everything ice cold. My
All
car
I
does.
see is Diet Coke and CBD seltzer.
very well. Well, we
THC in
have something to share with you because it was created by Liv. This is a little year-end song, and I'll tell you,
It's a song.
I'm pretty sure no one here can fucking sing for shit.
Fuck,
I'm pretty
no.
good.
Fact.
And I don't know how to do autotune, and I'm not doing it. But we're gonna sing you a little song
Oh God.
called "The 12 Days of Nastygram."
I did not sign up for this.
Oh, Lord.
Do you hear this
if
nasally,
this is
a long
stuffy
song,
voice?
bro.
There's a lot.
There's 12 verses. It's the 12 Days of Nastygram.
It's fair. I might have mentioned this in the epilogue to the Christmas special too, but there was there was a post this week that made me smile because it says that Ken Wiley does not like Christmas carols. But, there was a bit that I really wanted to do where Ken Wiley, in fact, does
Oh, so we're doing
prank
these.
call Carol every year on Christmas.
Wait, so we're doing these with character voices?
No.
Yeah,
I am.
No?
I am.
Oh, can I sing
my
in French?
I mean, the
Dan can.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is the 12 Days of Nastygram. And the one thing, how do we say a hill gets with charcuterie?
A
Is that-
hill gets
yeah,
with
we're-
charcuterie.
This is gonna be an absolute fucking
This is gonna be
disaster.
terrible. So thanks for listening. Everybody,
if you don't make it past this,
cut it off.
You cut it. You
Cut.
feel free to tune
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
But
We promise there's nothing after the credits.
there's nothing else. This is it.
It's in your best interest to leave now.
But we have to do it because this was
Contractually obligated.
Yep.
written brilliantly by Liv, and it will be performed terribly by us. So here we go. The 12 Days of Nasty.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
On the
First day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the second day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 2 octogrims and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the third day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the fourth day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the fifth day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the sixth day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie.
Halfway there.
On the seventh day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the 8th day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 8 empires ending, 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the 9th day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 9 opossums screaming, 8 empires ending, 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the 10th day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 10 tasty monsters, 9 opossums screaming, 8 empires ending, 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the 11th day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 11 druids shifting, 10 tasty monsters, 9 opossums screaming, 8 empires ending, 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. On the 12th day of Yuletide, my podcast sent to me 12 admirals purring, 11 druids shifting, 10 tasty monsters, 9 opossums screaming, 8 empires ending, 7 secret programs, 6, it's always 6, fuck! 5 hard boys, 4 voodoo priests, 3 barkeeps, 2 octogrims, and a hill kiss with charcuterie. Holy fuck!
Oh my God! We lost everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Jesus. See you later.
Hope you're still with us.
Happy 2024.
Just look
Unsubscribe.
That's nasty.